Shabbat Shalom. In our Torah portion Vayera, we find in chapter 18, verse 17, that God decides to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. And he says, I guess to himself, or the Torah puts these words in God's thought or mouth, so to speak. Now the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? God says, I'm going to share this idea with Abraham, and he tells Abraham that he's going to destroy the cities. And Abraham says the following words, which I think are one of the most beautiful and powerful words in the entire Torah. Abraham came forward and said, will you sweep away the innocent along with the guilty? Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth deal justly? Ashofet kol haaretz lo yaseh mishpat. Abraham is challenging God. Abraham is saying to God, what you are planning to do, just to kill everybody, is not the right thing to do. This will be to act unjustly, and that doesn't befit you, God, to do. Which is something that in our minds is not the way we look at the Torah, generally speaking. We look at God deciding and making decisions, and usually the prophets, even Abraham in other occasions, and Moses and Jacob and Isaac, we find them obeying what God has to do, or what God had decreed. And here we find Abraham that is arguing on behalf of people who, according to the Torah, are really evil, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. This is a city where 10 righteous people could not be found. And Abraham says to God, God, what you are going to do, the way you are dealing in this particular situation, doesn't befit you. You are a just ruler, and this is not what I expect from you to do. And God and Abraham start bargaining about Sodom and Gomorrah. And at the end, the story goes the way it goes. 10 people righteous were not to be found, and yet Lot and his daughters are being saved. Not because they are so righteous, I like to suggest, but certainly they don't fit in the category with everybody else in Sodom and Gomorrah, and the argument of Abraham to God carried on, and he at least was able to save some people from the city. What I like to share with you is that we don't have, I like to believe, we don't have or I believe, the power sometimes to change what God had prepared for us. But we learn in the Torah portion that we can challenge these decisions. That we don't have to be happy with every single decision that God made for us or prepared for us. God has His plans, and maybe we cannot understand the plans. Maybe we cannot change them. But we can still look to God and say, God, I don't like what I am seeing here. I am disappointed. I am upset. I may not be able to change it. But this is what I expect from you. The expectations of the God in which we believe, or Abraham believes, is a God that acts justly. Even when sometimes doesn't fit the way things work out. This is the expectation. And I think the Torah is telling us, by inserting this dialogue here, that we should not change this expectation. That this is the right way to go. That Abraham knows what is just and what is unjust. And he is able to challenge God even on this matter. And that it is okay. And that, I think, is going to open the door for Moses to challenge God until the Holocaust, in where we find stories that survivors and people who were believers, they challenged God for what happened in the Shoah. This is a tradition that wasn't started or didn't start 50 years ago. This is a tradition that goes all the way at the beginning to the Torah, in which God invites this dialogue, in which God encourages these challenges, in which we are partners with God, and we are able to say, we wish things were differently. And this is what we expect from you, God, as well. This, of course, is deep theology, and I might not be able to take it too much from here, but I would like to invite you, to those who listen to this presentation via YouTube, just to talk to me about it, to engage me, maybe to write some comments, and maybe we can continue it from here. Shabbat Shalom.